Money, money, money. Has a day ever gone by without you thinking of money? It's so important that you can't hope to survive in our world today without it. For something to be so vital, you might have asked yourself once or twice why the government can't just print $1 million and give it to every citizen. While that sounds nice in theory, it might lead to an even worse crisis than what the world is facing today. The wars in Ukraine and Palestine continue to rage on, and inflation is rapidly on the rise because of it. Why is a war happening halfway across the world affecting the price of the bread you buy? Well, how exactly does the economy and money work? Each time you watch the news, you hear them ramble about the economy or some other complicated mumbo-jumbo. So what's the deal with economics, you ask? In this video, we've broken down everything you need to know about it. Before we get into it, just make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Economics is not just about making money or predicting the ups and downs of the stock market. Sure, some economists try to be magicians and read the state of the economy from a crystal ball, but that's not what it's all about. At its core, economics is like a deep dive into people and their choices. Alfred Marshall, the big-shot economist, called it the study of man and woman in the ordinary business of life. It's all about how folks make their dough and what they do with it, the whole wealth jazz, and, more importantly, understanding what makes people tick. But hold up. What else is in the economics mix? Picture an 18-year-old trying to figure out whether to hustle or hit the books, weighing the impact on their future cash flow. Think about a company scratching its head over whether to pump out smartphones or tablets, all based on what us consumers are craving. And on the big stage, there's the government, playing the money game during a recession, deciding if diving into debt is worth it. Contrary to the snooze fest image, economics isn't all yawns. Okay, maybe some parts are, but trust me, it's pretty darn cool. Understanding this stuff can totally flip the way you think and solve problems. Our plan for the next 40 weeks is to drop some knowledge bombs that not only unravel the world's complexities, but also arm you to make it better. No matter who you are, economics is a tool you're rockin'. Actually, you're using it right now. You clicked on this video, right? Well, that's you weighing the pros and cons. That, my friend, is the nitty-gritty of economics, a constant flow of decisions shaping our lives and the crazy world we're in. If you're aiming for financial success, which is awesome, understanding the dynamics of money becomes crucial. Many people think they've got it figured out, but the reality is it can be a bit tricky. But don't be too worried about that, because getting a handle on this can be a game changer. So what's the deal with money? The concept of money has had quite the journey up to this point, from bartering chickens and milk to shells, beads, and the shiny allure of gold, silver, and copper coins. Money has transformed. Today, it's more about that paper, officially known as fiat currency. Sure, it's not as tangible as those golden days, but it's still a powerful representation. Now, our green bills are essentially IOUs from the government. The system of today is built on trust and faith in the system. In the past, money was mostly gold, but now it's an intricate system mixed up with debt and the promises of taxpayers. It might sound complex, but here's the one thing you need to understand most. Money today is more of an idea or a concept. Sure, it's not chickens, gold, or silver anymore, but isn't it fascinating how money has evolved? The more trustworthy a country is, then the more valuable their currency is. With this explanation, it makes complete sense that the dollar is one of the most powerful currencies in the world. The United States is a behemoth in manufacturing, exporting, and services. They are so powerful that they influence foreign affairs. Take, for instance, its involvement in basically all the major conflicts in the globe. This is because so many other economies are dependent on the continued survival of the states. The obvious question becomes, why exactly are these economies dependent on the U.S.? An understanding of what an economy is made up of will help you answer this question. When people talk about an economy, they use all sorts of words. They might say it's doing great, kicking butt, or just in a good place when things are going well. But when times are tough, it gets tagged as weak, struggling, or even feeling a bit hungover. To figure out what's really going on, you have to understand some concepts and buzzwords. First off, there's GDP, which is just a fancy way of saying how much stuff a country makes in a year. If that's going up, then it's a sign the economy is growing. Then there's inflation, which is just how fast prices are going up in the shops. The government likes it to stay around 2%. Anything more or less, and they get antsy. This doesn't always mean that a low inflation rate is a good thing. As families in the US get ready for Thanksgiving dinner, it seems prices for things like food and gas have stayed pretty much the same for months. Gasoline is even 10% cheaper than a year ago, and the cost of things we buy regularly hasn't changed that much in a year. But even though it seems like things are not getting more expensive, people are not feeling too positive about President Joe Biden or the Federal Reserve. The reason? Things we buy are still more expensive than they were before the pandemic, and it looks like they will stay that way. So, while it's true that inflation is slowing down, it doesn't really feel like prices are going down. They're just going up more slowly. This is why we have to understand that it's not only the inflation rate that affects the economy. Unemployment is another big issue that contributes to the health of any country's economy. That's about how many people want a job but can't find one. Obviously, the lower that number, the better. Lastly, there's inequality, which is just a fancy word for how the money and other goodies are shared out. Economists don't like it when the rich have too much and the rest of us don't have enough. They say that's a sign the economy isn't doing so well. So, by keeping an eye on these 4 things, we can get a pretty good picture of what's what in the economy. In today's world, what many people call money, we could think of more like fake money. It's not that this money isn't useful. It is. The thing is, today's money, which we mostly call currency, doesn't have inherent value like gold or silver. These precious metals always have value. The problem is, lots of people don't get this. They believe that money, like dollars, has real value. That's why so many people think saving money is a smart move. But if you take a closer look at the people who know how money works, you will see that they think about it differently. Savers usually don't come out on top. Today's money is more like currency. It represents how much trust economies have in a country's financial health, not something valuable like gold. This change happened in 1971 when President Nixon stopped tying the US dollar to gold. That's when it turned into fake money, based solely on the full faith and credit of the US. Other countries did the same. Look at the word currency itself. It is derived from the word current, which basically means flow. These days, money needs to keep moving to stay alive. The value of this fake money always goes down compared to real money. One reason is that governments can print as much as they want, since it's not tied to anything valuable. It's just paper. Understanding this helps you navigate the financial world we live in today. So, after all this, we have to ask the question again, how does an economy work? Well, as you've seen, it's kind of complicated. But basically, economies deal with sharing limited resources among people and businesses. Think of it like a bunch of markets where things are traded, and money keeps it all moving. This happens not only locally, but also nationally and internationally, making the world one giant market. There are different types of economies, and each of these have different priorities with different levels of government involvement. On both small and big scales, many things decide if an economy does well or not. And just like that, our lives are connected to how these systems work. Learning about the economy helps you understand the different things that affect it. What do you know about your country's economy? If you want to learn more about anything economy related, let us know what you want our next video to be about in the comments. As always, remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Catch you next time.